Welcome to Meera Codes. In today's video, we will learn about why do we need a Spring framework, that is understanding the need of a Spring framework. Before Spring, developers were already building the Java applications using a normal Java concepts like classes, objects, interfaces, inheritance, and a polymorphism. So Java itself was not the problem. The real challenge came as the application became larger and more complex. There were more classes, more objects, and more relationship between those objects. Managing all of them manually started becoming a difficult. Java could build the application. The problem was managing the complexity of a large applications. Let's take a simple employee application as an example. We can divide our application into a different layers. The controller handles the incoming requests. The service contains the business logic. The repository is responsible for interacting with the databases. Like notice something, these components does not work completely independently. They need each other to perform their work. The controller needs the service and the service needs the repository. So this relationship between the classes is where the concept of dependency comes in. So what exactly is a dependency? A dependency simply means that one class needs another class to perform its work. In our example, employee service needs the employee repository to perform the operations related to the employees. So employee repository is a dependency of the employee service. For an example, car class needs an engine to run, then engine is a dependency of a car. Now we know what is a dependency, then who creates and provides this dependency. Before Spring, we could manually create these objects using a new keyword. First, we create an employee repository object, then we create the employee service object and pass the repository object to it. So here, our code is responsible for creating the objects and connecting them together. For a small application, this isn't really a problem. We can easily understand which objects needs to be created and which dependencies needs to be passed. But imagine an application with the hundreds of classes there. That's where things started becoming difficult. If our application has hundreds of classes, each class may have one or more dependencies. So we may have many objects and many connections between them. Now we have to keep the track of which objects needs to be created, which objects depend on each other, which implementation should be provided, and which those objects should be created. As the application grows, doing all of this manually becomes difficult to manage. And this is where we start seeing the need for the framework, like a Spring. So far, we have seen that Java applications can be built using a normal Java concept, but as the application grows, managing the objects and their dependencies manually becomes difficult. But what specific problem does this create in our application? In next video, we will understand those problems starting with the tight coupling. Thank you for watching.